Okay, let's talk about the plus plus and minus minus operators. So you could write I plus plus or plus plus I, either way, and they both evaluate to I equals I plus 1. So what's their difference and why does C have both of those? Okay, so here we have an example program, and we've got two while loops that are going to count from 0 to 5. And in the first while loop, in both cases, we're going to print out the value of I. But in the first while loop, we're going to use I plus plus. And in the second loop, we're going to use plus plus I. So the key difference between I plus plus and plus plus I is that I plus plus does the increment after using the value. So in this case, printf is going to take that value, the value of I, and use it. And then after that, it's going to be incremented. Whereas in the second version, plus plus I, it's going to increment the value first and then use it for printf. So let's just go ahead and run the program and see what happens. So we'll compile it first. And we'll go ahead and run it. And you see that in the first version, we count from 0 to 4. Well, in the second version, we count from 0 to 5. Sorry, from 1 to 5. Okay, so why does that happen? Well, so if in the first version, I starts off at 0, I is in fact less than 5, and the first value we print is going to be 0, and then we increment I. So then on the next iteration of the loop, I is now 1, and so forth, and it keeps incrementing I. On the last iteration, I is 4, that gets used in the printf, then we increment I to 5, and therefore we quit the loop at that point. Conversely, down here, we increment I before we print it. So if I is 4, when we check it in the loop, then we increment I and we get 5, and we print that out before we exit the loop. And therefore, even though they both have I less than 5 as the loop condition, the second loop is going to print from 1 to 5, while the first loop is going to print from 1 to 4. Okay, so like what really even is the point of having both of those? They're both just shorthands, and in general, we're going to use I plus plus if it doesn't matter which one we use. Just convention is that I plus plus is more common, but occasionally there are instances where it's just shorter and simpler to write your code using plus plus I, like in this second example. And if that's the case, then it's perfectly fine to do so, and you should do that.